Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid is finally hitting theaters globally, and thanks to Disney I had the chance to check the movie out a few days early. Here are my thoughts. The Little Mermaid is the beloved story of Ariel, a beautiful and spirited young mermaid with a thirst for adventure. Ariel longs to find out more about the world beyond the sea, and while visiting the surface, falls for the dashing Prince Eric. While mermaids are forbidden to interact with humans, Ariel must follow her heart. She makes a deal with the evil sea witch Ursula, which gives her a chance to experience life on land, but ultimately places her life in jeopardy. Alright, so we've got another live-action Disney remake. It feels like only a couple of weeks ago that I was reviewing the last one. In fact, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I was reviewing Peter Pan and Wendy. Sometimes it seems like these things just come out at like a rapid pace. I will preface this video the way that I do every time I review one of these remakes, and that is by saying I don't have a problem with these. In fact, I'm a bit of a fan of this franchise. I've enjoyed most of these to varying degrees. Some of them I really love, some of them I don't care too much about. But I don't have a problem with remakes at all. I think there is a merit in retelling stories for new generations in new ways. That said, The Little Mermaid is one of the more pivotal Disney movies of my childhood. I was born in the 90s, so it came out only just a few years before I was born, but it's one of those movies that was always there. I mean, you knew the songs, you knew the characters, they were on constant repeat on VHS, on television, and I think even kids today are still growing up with these movies, though in the same way that, you know, I grew up with Walt Disney's classic movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. But The Little Mermaid is one of those just very important, pivotal ones that I love. I love the original film. It's just, as all of those Renaissance era films were, it's a perfect movie, structurally, narratively, musically. Everything about the movie is just perfect. Thankfully though, and I will say this at the top of the review instead of kind of leading you on for the whole thing, I really like this one. This is one of the better live action remakes. In fact, I think it's probably towards the top of the list. I'm not quite sure where it sits in my ranking just yet, but it sits up the top. This is one of the better ones. Halle Bailey, of course, is our new Ariel, and she is amazing. Her performance is stunning. She's so radiant and hopeful and joyous, and she just puts a big smile on your face. I don't think they could have picked anyone better to be the embodiment of Ariel in live action. I know there's been controversy around her casting for various stupid reasons from certain sectors of the audience, and I know that those people are going to be probably appearing down there in the comments, hey guys, get out of here. But no, Halle Bailey is just tremendous. She's a superstar, and I think she's gonna go, you know, some really, really great places in her career. I think she was amazing as Ariel. Her singing voice is, she has the voice, doesn't have the voice of a mermaid, she has the voice of an angel. I think her performance here is probably the best performance we've had out of one of these remakes. She embodies the Disney princess. She is like the physical embodiment of one of these characters. I think she was just amazing in this, and really, really carries the movie on her back. There's so much of it that I really, really loved. Aside from Bailey's performance, the new versions of the songs are wonderful. I was a little bit nervous. You know, these songs are as important as the movies. You know, so many Disney movies, you may not have actually grown up with the movie, but you grew up with the song. The song was always playing, whether that be on like one of those VHS tapes of like song compilations, or it was on the Disney Channel, or, you know, you just knew the music. So the music, I think, next to like character performances, has to be like the next thing that's like spot on. And these new versions here are really great. Of course, they've been kind of newly arranged by Alan Menken, who was the original composer of the songs from the original movie. Of course, Howard Ashman passed away in the 1990s, so he was unavailable to come back and write new lyrics or rearrange the lyrics, or write new songs, etc. So we've got Lin-Manuel Miranda on board doing that and helping out with the new arrangements and stuff. And yeah, the new arrangements of the old songs are great. Of course, Part of Your World is gorgeous. Halle Bailey delivers just such a beautiful rendition of this song, and it really kicks the movie off on the right note. Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl are great. They almost have like a bit more of a kind of a calypso feel to them. They were very, you know, calypso reggae in the original film, but it's almost like Menken has kind of dialed up the calypso feel of this. I think it really works really well, not just for those two songs, but for the score in general. It gives this really light, bubbly, just sort of beautiful feel to the film itself. Visually, the movie's really nice as well. It's beautiful. I know a lot of people are pulling out frame grabs going, look how drab this movie looks. I mean, you're pulling frame grabs from scenes where Ariel is under the sea, and that's the place she wants to escape. Of course, it's going to look dull and drab under there. Once you get to the surface world, it's beautiful, it's bright, it's sunny, just like the original movie. Go back and watch the original movie. They use so many like heavy colors and shadows when she's under the sea, heavy, deep navy blues and dark blacks and grays, because this is a place she doesn't want to be. She wants to escape this place and go up where it's brighter and people are happier and having a lot more fun. So there's so much about this that it's just great. It's got such a really nice vibe, and whether that is in Bailey's performance or the music, the new musicality that's been brought to the movie, it just all feels so happy, and again, I said joyous. That's just this movie, and the movie feels like a big warm hug. You really love it. It's just so warm and inviting, and it's just, I felt like I was smiling like the entire movie, because it's just such a beautiful, happy film, and I really, really, really loved so much of this. Unfortunately, there are quite a few kind of negatives here as well. Firstly, we talk about the music, how much I enjoyed the new versions of the old songs. I did not enjoy the new songs very much. There's one that is really good. I think it's called For the First Time, and it is just a really beautiful song where Ariel first comes to the surface land, and there's a little song in here, and it's really good. I feel like Lin-Manuel Miranda really hones in on Ashman's writing style, his lyrics. They just feel thematically, stylistically very similar, and I think they fit in with the movie very well alongside all the other music. But he's also written another like 2 or 3 songs for this movie here, which I just were either just really middling or were just flat out terrible. I'm sure you've all heard the scuttlebutt. It's all over TikTok. It's as bad in the movie as it is out of context. Very cringy. It's an awful sequence that I just couldn't wait to end. Really bad, didn't like that. I like Manuel Miranda. I loved his music from Moana. I really loved Hamilton. His songs, for the most part here, they don't feel like they belong in The Little Mermaid. They feel like they belong in Hamilton. I don't have a problem with them changing a few things. In fact, I always say that these live action remakes always excel when they attempt to do something a little bit different. They push the story out a little bit. They like expand little sections. They add little new twists to things like that. So I kind of feel maybe a little hypocritical saying it, but I feel like the new Manuel Miranda music just didn't work. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but it didn't work. On that same note, this movie is very long. This movie is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is what, 135 minutes long. The original movie is 80 minutes long. So you've added like the best part of another hour on top of that. And it's just too long. It's far too long. Not only is it far too long for like a family movie should be 80, 90, 100 minutes at a push. Going over 2 hours is just too long. I don't mind when they pad these out a little bit, add a few little bits and pieces here, but then when you go and you add like the best part of an extra hour to a movie, you're just adding too much stuff for the sake of adding too much stuff. It does add some decent depth to the characters, not only to Ariel and King Triton and all the sisters, a little bit to Ursula as well, but it adds some, it's more so the characters on the surface world get a little bit more fleshing out. And at times it's good, at times it's just too much. It's irrelevant. There's a lot of irrelevant stuff in here, and it just makes the movie feel long. And the movie it's far too long. Another big gripe I had was the CGI. I'm not usually one to sit here and rail out on VFX artists and whatever else, because I think it's just unfair. And particularly with Disney, I know in recent times there's been a little bit of controversy with them. They've become very well known for being a studio that maybe doesn't delegate enough money to VFX and doesn't delegate enough time to VFX teams to actually get the work done. I know this happened over at Marvel, and you do start to feel it in a lot of their other movies as well. The CGI here is okay, it's fine for the most part. At times, it's just really glaringly just bad. A lot of stuff under the sea, it's a little bit uncanny valley. Some of it just doesn't look great. If they'd thrown a little bit more money and a little bit more time at it, they would have been able to get it perfectly. I mean, look what James Cameron did with Avatar recently. This is a $250 million movie, The Little Mermaid. There's no reason the VFX can't be to as high of a level as something like Avatar. But I think they're really my only big issues here. Everything else about the movie I really loved. But unfortunately, these kind of more negative things, although the positive like far outweighs these kind of negative things that I had about the movie, it couldn't but help but feel slightly detrimented in my experience with the film by these things. You know, these things unfortunately do weigh down as the movie goes along. I would love to give this movie like a 4-star because that's really how I feel. I just love when this movie works, it works so well, and in those moments you just love it. You are just so in love with the movie. As I said, it makes you so happy. You're so happy for the entire film. But when one of these kind of little more negative things rears its head, you do feel your enjoyment kind of drop. Might be just a spontaneous thing that's over very quickly, but it is enough to, I think, bring my score down just slightly, and I feel awful having to do it because, again, I love this movie when it works. It's great, and as I said, it's one of the top Disney live-action remakes for me, anyway. At that, I am going to be giving The Little Mermaid a 3.5 out of 5. So I want to know your thoughts on Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it just yet, I want to know, how do you feel going into the movie? As always, join the conversation down in the comments below. I know I'm speaking on deaf ears here, but if you keep some of the nonsense out of the comments, that'd be really great. And see you in the next one. Take it easy.